Hey, you know what? I bet you didn't know this. CM Punk returned to WWE.
Get the fuck out.
Yeah, that was. I know you were all Borg Genesis out, but yeah, that happened at Survivor Series with his just literally an appearance. He appeared and then was gone.
I was surprised.
And Seth Rollins went a little berserk. I don't know if you saw some of the after the telecast footage.
I saw it. I thank God Michael Cole had a hold of him there.
Yeah, or else there would have been trouble. His jacket stayed buttoned the whole time. There's
look at that one hand is
vigorous
look
restraint.
At that rapper. It's a see, but a lot of people don't know that's it. That Brazilian jiu-jitsu where he's doing pressure on the umbilical cord there.
The navel.
It basically paralyzes you. Your feet don't work.
Actually looks a little like a reach around.
A little bit.
Like. But so all right. So
yeah, see,
Seth's go ahead.
Punk's actually people that go back to that shot if we can. Punk wants to get the exact moment he walked out, so he'll have it down to the minute when he gets fucking fired.
To know how long he spent in WWE in this
6 weeks this time.
Well, he's going to want to be paid for the exact amount of time he worked.
Yeah.
All right. So Seth's. What did you think of Seth's tantrum? Is the only thing. I mean, there was if you're going to fight, you're going to fight, right? You're going to charge.
No,
and,
you're not.
And you're going to fight, or maybe just flip the bird.
If it was,
what are we doing?
So if it's a shoot, right? If it's a shoot, you're going to clip him in the back because it would have hit him all day, and then you would have went back there, and then unless they got him in and out, then if they got him in and out, and you're really that pissed. See, I think the way that would have been kind of cool to play this, if you just want to do it for the smarts. But see, the WWE is so far above that it's like that display from Seth was fine because the bottom feeders bought into it. Everybody else knows that Seth being a wrestler, and it's like color by numbers. Like everybody got their own interpretation of, So it makes me think, that in where my mind is now. If you want to go old school, and Seth had the belt down there with him. If word got back that Seth walked by and dropped the belt on Paul's desk and said, "Fuck you," I said, "Surprise back at you." Now you got
this is my point.
Now you got something that is a little bit more interesting. But
nothing happened.
Nothing happened.
The moment, I guess, the thinking is, I would assume, the moment is Punk.
Go back to that last frame before we went. See Randy in the corner.
Yes, in the ring.
Yes, Randy's in the corner, and it's like that's your barometer. There's your 20-year guy going, "A bunch of fucking shit." You know what I mean? It ain't even
Randy's reaction.
He's not even going to be fucking down on the fucking mat. He's just going to sit right there in the corner. That was the only thing that I thought was took away from fucking Randy. But at the same time, it's like it's the old Pat Patterson. Give him Randy, wow, motherfucker, boom, give him a little something extra.
Right. Keep layering it. But here's the thing. So you get the appearance. Was that enough? It seemed to be enough. I mean, it got the pop.
That night?
It's like Jason rises from the ashes. There he is. Good night.
Yeah, just that's one of those things where,
I could have done so. I think the belt idea would have been great because it wouldn't have spoiled any, like there would have been no physical contact between them still. It didn't
No, but
give
it would have
anything
been
away
a
angle-wise, but
backstage, because that's the one thing that AEW has had is a bunch of backstage, like, you know, the brawls. The people never saw any of the brawls or the, you know, the circumstances that happened backstage, and people, you know, got it secondhand. And but at the same time, that creates social media buzz. So now you've got everybody, you know. But when when a guy walks out and sits Indian style for fucking 45 seconds and they get 72 million hits, I think you've done what you've, you know, you can say whatever the fuck you want about Phil. And I hope I hope for the WWE and for Paul that it's successful as fuck. And I hope for him it is. I say, you know, Sean Waltman and I were talking the other day, and we were talking about straight edge. You know, it's always been his thing that he's straight edge. And I think it's straight edge would mean in every category, whether it be antidepressants, whatever it is. So as life goes on and you continually get involved in these situations that are at times, I'm sure he's in retrospect looked back and said, well, that fucking cost me $5 million. That cost me this. That cost me this. So, and you're not smoking a little cannabis to fucking take the edge off, or you're not having a glass of wine. I think that it's very difficult to not in any form or fashion just to absorb.
So you're saying it could help him to be a little less straight edge, maybe take the edge off.
I'm not saying in any way use drugs or alcohol or anything illegal, but maybe maybe there's a bipolar, or maybe there's, Paul says that Paul Levesque says, I'm a different person than I was 10 years ago.
10 years ago, yeah.
And
so did Punk in the ring.
And Punk said, yeah, but so if let's just say you're a serial rapist.
Okay.
Okay, I was going to say a plumber, but serial rapist.
I was bored today, so sure.
Yeah, serial rapist. And, you say, well, 10 years ago, he was a serial rapist. Oh, but I'm a different person, and he's a different person. Oh, wait. He just raped somebody 9 months ago.
So right, because Punk might have been a different man than he was 10 years ago in WWE.
But he still had an episode.
In AEW.
Right? In AEW.
Right.
So, to the point of, even though in retrospect now, Bryan Danielson is saying, hey man, I wasn't I wasn't Wyatt Earp on this fucking committee. I just had a voice.
Despite the beard. Yeah.
Right. But nice. But I did have a voice in determining whether he was terminated or not. And if anybody knows Bryan, I think you couldn't pick probably a more level-headed guy in the locker room than Bryan. I mean, he's just.
He owned it. Like they asked him.
Yeah, no,
was it hard to say that, to give a thumbs down to a friend? And he was like, absolutely.
Sure it is.
Answer.
But
yeah.
It's the same point. I mean, when it's Bryan that makes a decision, it's like, wow. So obviously it was, it was very warranted. So
Paul has seen all the shit about AEW and talked to people over there. So he knows what went on 6 months ago. So there had to be a private conversation.
Absolutely.
There had to be a moment where they agreed that the public message would be, people can change, you've changed, I've changed, we're going to give it another go. This is what the people want. But Paul had a moment where he said, motherfucker, this is wiffle ball. The major leagues.
Yeah, this is wiffle ball, motherfucker. One strike.
And you're gone, because I can't deal with that shit. So The
It's
public
really
message is
funny.
fine, but you know there was a private
It's
discussion.
funny now that Vince has taken a back seat in this whole thing, that I see Paul like he owns it now. It's such a like he has ownership of that company as far as that when they say he is, he's creative. He is, and I mean it's just his demeanor, his pacing. I mean, he is in complete control of that situation, and there's never been anybody um, of his talent in the ring, and he was just. I mean, he was with us, and we were all ruthless, and we were all very driven and for our success. And I just see it such a different Paul now.
Mm.
And I know that when I was supposed to wrestle Punk, you know, he just got under Triple H's skin so bad. Like Paul just came up to me and just said, I'm gonna beat him. You're not gonna wrestle him. I'm beating. I was like, cool.
Oh, a clean win. Oh, that's interesting.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's why I did. That's why me and Punk never wrestled.
He made the call.
He
Yeah.
said, fuck you. Like, yeah, like I got to beat this fucker. So
Listen, it was 10 years ago,
that was 10 years ago.
and they've changed.
Last time I was there.
So the Raw promo then. Okay, so here's the first time that he has the mic, and he could have walked and taken a dump in the ring, and it would have gotten the highest rating of the night. That week would have been the highest week in however long. But he does a promo instead of taking a dump, and with all the I've changed and I'm home. We are supposed to suspend a little disbelief and think that we're watching gladiators, right? So, does it take away?
I thought the glad handing on the way to the ring was not him.
Oh, even consistent with with his character, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just thought that it was for somebody that's so pipe bomb, it just felt very contrived.
Mm. Right.
And then at the end, oh shit, I better slip this in so I have some credibility. I'm not here to make friends, I'm here to make money. I've heard that before.
You've heard that before, haven't you? I've heard it before. So what now? Like, how often would you have him work if you're Paul? He's 40. How old is Punk? Someone get me confirmation.
46.
46. Okay. So how often is he going to work?
I'm guessing. I don't know. I think he's 46. I mean, he's not been 10 years ago. He walked around with a hydroculator pad on his lower back. No, he's been beat up. And I think he worked a very, I'm not going to say reckless, but just a very indie style for those years of Ring of Honor. And
physical style, for sure.
Aerial. Definitely put some miles on his body early. He's 45.
45.
Yeah, 45. So, but at the same time, it's just like, he has to come in, like if it was my choice to book him with somebody, especially since coming out of this, they talked to Kevin Owen, and Kevin said, "Man, I just want to have a good time at work."
Yeah,
I just like really I don't want to stir anything. Just want to have a good time at work. But I think that if I'm going to watch two guys cut promos against each other, I want it because it's going to be promo based early.
They're going to have to fight.
They will have to fight, but it's going to be promo based early. I would like to just let those two guys go, not just bullet point them and let them kind of go. because
Oh,
I think Kevin can cut a fucking promo.
But they don't take that risk in WWE. They want it to be very controlled for advertisers, and it's a publicly
No,
traded
they're
company.
not
They
gonna.
can't have
They're
anybody
not.
go too into business.
They're. I think that's what I said. The bullet points can also be can be adhered to with restrictions, but I don't think that anybody's going to be able to write what they are going to want to say.
How scripted was his Monday night promo, you think?
I don't. I just don't see Phil sitting there fucking saying that this is home. It's always been home, and
Right. So where do you
now
go with him now? Is it Roman or
no,
Owens, Rollins?
no.
Where do
I
you go?
would now with Randy back. I have Randy winning the Rumble and going to Roman. How many times has Randy been the world champion? 14 times?
I thought it was 94, but yeah, I mean,
No, how many times is Randy Orton been world champion?
they'll have it. So him,
Who's is it still Flair the record holder?
I'm getting 10 here.
Is it 10?
Flair still holds it. 14. Okay, world
14
champion
times.
14.
And then
WWE title 10
Flair's
times.
16, so Orton wins this. He's one shy of tying Flair. I think Cena's 15 also, right?
So you make that part of the you make that the
Yeah,
angle.
make that part of the what's making Randy, Randy did state that he was going to come back and he wanted to do 10 more years. So
Punk Rollins with maybe put Michael Cole in the corner or
and then I would
referee?
probably do
Enforcer.
I would do I'd do Rollins and Cody.
Okay, so Cody's not in the top spot for you there with Reigns. It's going to be Randy, and then you move Cody over to Rollins. So KO and Punk.
If you can keep them apart that long.
All right, now I have some very pointed questions for you here about this, and you have to answer. A, would you have fired him in AEW?
I don't know the whole story. I mean,
of what we know.
Yes.
Would you have allowed him back in WWE today?
Paul, yes.
Despite your having said you'd fire him in AEW?
Because I think Paul looks at it as they got there because they didn't have Paul.
So different culture, you would have had a different locker room situation. Okay. What would a young Kevin Nash, worker years, have done in AEW locker room with Punk that night? Putting hands on another worker first. If
Probably
that's what
watched. Probably watched and stirred. No. I don't know. I think that, I mean, I wasn't around Phil a lot. We spent a little bit of time together on some European trips and shit. We kind of hung out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's probably, he came across to me like he was pretty genuinely a nice person. I just think it's how he's, and I've said it on this show that when Punk came back, they put the belts on, but he made everybody, in the ring, he made everybody that he worked with. So I didn't see any problem with what he was doing, work-wise and still, competing and being the champ. I thought that he was, but he got injured.